Three, two, one. Three, two, one. Three, two, one. Are we live? I think we're live. I hope we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. This is Angela with another edition of Notes on the News, where I share with you headlines from my news feed that I personally curated and selected because I thought that they were interesting to me. And we talk about them, or I talk about them. Peace, Rottweiler. We live! Yay! It's not news, it's just my notes on the news. Thanks for coming in and thanks for the like. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Watch the replay. If you come in the middle, feel free to watch the replay. I'm just recording it live because it's more convenient for me. Working on 1,000 subscribers. Hey, Mr. Kendrick. Um, so if you are a part of that, I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All of the things you do are a part of that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Nguzo Saba for today. Habaragani. Habaragani. What's the word? The word today, yesterday was Nia, which was a sense of purpose. And the action, I'm on a whole different site today, was setting goals that benefit the community. Today's Nguzo Saba is Kuumba. Kuumba. I think, is that my second favorite? I think that's my second favorite Kwanzaa principle in terms of how it sounds. My first one is Kuji Chagalia, and then I like Kuumba because it seemed like Kuumba. I don't know. It's got a little oomph to it. Kuumba means creativity, and the action that they suggest is making the community better and more beautiful. Now, I always like when I hear it and they say more beautiful than when you leave it, more beautiful than when you came. They don't say it on this one, but I like that idea. When you come to a person, when you come to a situation, when you come to a space, when you leave the space, is it better when you leave than when you come? Or are people like, whew, I'm glad they gone? You should be the person who, when they leave, they like, dang, they're gone. No, they're gone. Make them come back. That's our goal. Kuumba. We want to come with the Kuumba. The Kuumba. The boom. The Kuumba. Okay. So that's the principle for the day. Kuumba, creativity. So as we're looking at the news, as we're looking at the headlines, as we're looking at, hey, Bonafide 1970, as we're looking at what's going on in the world, we want to apply our Kuumba to it. Our Kuumba to our analysis of it, our Kuumba to how we're processing it and integrating it into our lives. We want to be creative with it. We don't want to just take it the way they give it. We want to take it and put our little magic on it and then ingest it. You can't just take what the people give us. Hey, conscious of genocide. So that's that. Let's see what the Buddha said today. What did the Buddha say? What the Buddha got to say? This is one of my favorite ones. I always like when I come to this one. Make an island unto yourself. Peace, RDB Fresh. Strive hard and become wise. Rid of impurities and cleansed of stain, you shall not come again to birth and decay. Make an island unto yourself. I think sometimes in some, you know how the Christians say, be in the world but not of the world. I think that's sort of that concept of making an island unto yourself, and that island that is yourself is yours to manage and control and run the way you want to manage it, control it, and run it. So, how are you managing, controlling, and running yourself? Make an island unto yourself, an island of Dhamma, an island of wisdom, an island of beauty, an island of Kuumba. What is your island? Is it productive and beautiful and adding value? Strive hard and become wise. I don't even remember that line, but I like that idea too, that, wisdom is something that, we work at. Wisdom is something that, we pray for. Wisdom is something that we seek out. Wisdom is a good thing to have, but you gotta work hard to become wise. strive hard. In New York, they have Strivers Row. Somebody was talking something about Harlem and something, and I'm like, what happened to something that somebody said? I'm like, what happened to Strivers Row? I know somebody who used to live on Striver. Oh, he was NAACP legal, something he did, either with the legal, something he did. He was on Striver's Row. Rid of impurities and cleansed of stain, you shall not come again to birth and decay. You know, this concept of like birth and decay and birth and decay, that's when you're in the loop, you know. That's when you're not in the God vibration. When you're in the God vibration, you're not in the vibration of things that are born only to pass away. You're in the vibration of things that are eternal. So, yeah. Make an island unto yourself, strive hard and become wise, rid of impurities and cleansed of stain. You shall not come again to birth and decay. Yeah, I think that might be one of my favorites. Okay, so let us see. What's new and good? What's new and good with you today? What's the good news? Wisdom tends to be the product of knowledge, experience, and observation. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a little bit of analysis in there. I mean, observation, maybe that includes kind of the, we got it, brother. We got it. We got it. We got it. Okay. So let's see what's on the news feed. And we're going to examine, of course, look at this through our lens today of Kuumba. What was yesterday? Nia. Oh, no, Nia. Kuumba is creativity. Nia was purpose. Okay. The first stars may have formed much earlier than scientists thought. This practice of science, this practice of medicine, this practice of even like, you know, when I would take my car to get fixed and I'd be like, this is what's happening, what's wrong? And the mechanic would be like, well, it could be this or it could be that. Let's try this and then we'll know. I'm like, well, what kind of, that's like when I went to the dermatologist. I remember one time I went to the dermatologist. I'm like, I got a rash. Look, I got a rash, dermatologist. And the dermatologist is like, let me look. And the dermatologist looked and the dermatologist is like, you got a rash. I'm like, I came in here and told you I got a rash. What does it mean? Dermatologist is like, you got a rash. What does it mean? That's how, like, that's when I kind of realized they figuring it out like me. Like the mechanic is trying to figure out, we gonna try this. If this don't work, it's probably that. If that don't work, it's probably that. That's what doctors do. They like, well, we'll try this. If it's not, and if you look in the what is this, like a book where they have like a list of like different symptoms for different diseases, physician's desk reference, I think it's called, the PDR. And if you look at it, it's like a lot of the same symptoms overlap. So it's not like you could be like, well, I have these five symptoms. You got a rash, right? That'll be $200, and then try this. I don't know what you got, but try this. It may work. I'm like, I'll never go to the dermatologist again. No more. Hey, Stephanie Gerald, welcome. And science is like that too. It's theories. We got a whole bunch of theories we don't know. We just theorize and trying to figure it out as we go. I'm not a scientist, but I'm just saying that's what we do in the world. So the scientists they say the stars may have formed much earlier than they thought. It's always, new information is going, put a different spin on stuff. So that's what's up. I like hearing about stars. When I studied astronomy, it was very junk science. When I studied astronomy, it was very confusing to me. And I realized that some people are like visually, like they could see the sun turn. I mean, they could see things turning and moving, like they could visualize all the different things. And it was like a mystery to me. And it's like, it's like if I look at somebody's astrological chart, a lot of times I'll get a feeling and I start seeing things. I start seeing relationships that maybe somebody else don't see. But like astronomy, it was like, I was just like, it's a lot of moving parts. And I couldn't really seem to, and other people, just like they could visualize it. Mm-hmm. Okay. With population at risk, Congo attempts new fight against Ebola. So for the last couple of days, we've been talking about this Ebola that's going on in the DR, Democratic Republic of Congo, which we talked about yesterday in our Al Kibalan section. So today we see in the news, well, I actually didn't hit the headline, I hit an article. They're ready to do experiments in DR Congo to try to stop the spread of Ebola. And the World Health Organization is on site, ready to do trials on black people, just like they've done, they do it in this country on black people, poor people, and prison people. We're the when my mother say, when you watch on the TV and it says the side effects of this drug are blah 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 blah, and death, that's because they done experimented on some of us to figure out what the side effects are. So they out there experimenting. I was like, what's going on with this Ebola stuff? What's going on? It's set up to experiment on whatever this new drug is, or this drug they trying to get a whole bunch of humans to try, or get a whole, they got a whole bunch of humans to try. That's what I think. What you think? um Netflix inks multi-year production agreement with the Obamas. I think I heard this was like in the works, but I guess it's been inked, like signed on the dotted line. So I guess the Obamas are going to be producing film and television show. Now, television shows. Now, production is a one of those words. It's sort of like being the chief operating officer, like the chief executive officer. That's the boss. The chief financial officer. They deal with money. The CEO, the chief operating officer. The cool. You be like, what? And every organization is different, and that's how like producers are. That could just mean they gave money. That could mean, it could mean anything. It could mean that they like running around doing all the footwork. It could mean that they're the showrunner. But yeah, we don't know what it means. But it's one of those terms that can mean a lot in a lot of different contexts, just depending. Decades after punishment for Alabama sit-in, former students get justice. Now, I don't know about justice, but I guess that some of them had gotten records, like you're a criminal because you sat in. We're arresting you, and it's on your record, your permanent record. Remember when you were when I was a kid, they'd be like, "This is gonna go on your permanent record," and you'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want it on my permanent record." It was like a big threat. So anyway, this has been on the people's permanent adult record as criminals, and I guess now, or as being arrested, and now I guess it's been expunged from their record. I don't think that constitutes justice. I think the headline may be reaching a bit coming off of the Griot. And I wish that the Griot is sometimes the black blogs, the way they report the stuff, I feel like it's a little unsophisticated. Yeah, I expect y'all to I don't want to hear you saying that they get injustice because the criminality is being out, because that ain't no justice. But anyway, and then it's like 20, 30 years later. That was in the 60s, right? 40 years later, 40, 45, 50 years later, they done gone on with their life. When I look at the stars, I see what most people don't see. I recognize that what I'm looking at is actually an illusion. I can explain it if you'd like. Oh, the only thing from astronomy, you can explain it. The only thing in astronomy that was really fascinating to me at the time, or what really kind of captured my imagination, was the idea that because light travels fast, light speed, that when you look, by the time I'm looking at the light, it's gone. So it's like I'm looking into the past. And I was like, that is really a beautiful concept. I'm looking into the past. I thought that was pretty. I thought that was beautiful. But yeah, what you see? um Iran mushroom poisoning, more than 800 sick from deadly fungi. So this is like, for those of us who, we go out and we, forage. For those of us who are foragers, I'm a forager. I'm a beginning forager. So I do more or less eat anything that I think is a mulberry, which maybe is not wise, but I don't eat anything that I think is a mushroom, because mushrooms are really, really difficult to identify. And that really the main thing that I eat is mulberries and red clover, which is purple or pink. So that's the only thing that I eat. But anyway, so these people ate some mushrooms and they thought that they were safe. It's like like more of a country place. So basically, what they said is when you buy your mushrooms, make sure they're shrink wrapped. Don't buy any mushrooms off the side of the road because they may or may not be safe. And that's what people are in the habit of doing, buying mushrooms off the side of the road, being like, well, Angela, she's a master forager, so she know what's safe and what's not safe. So I'm buying my mushrooms from Angela. But somewhere along the way, there was some kind of glitch, and 800 people are sick. And mushrooms are very, very, it's the whole foraging endeavor. I don't want to say it's very, very dangerous, but sometimes like identifying plants correctly when you're gonna eat something, it can be a little tricky. So, and mushrooms are known to be, I don't like mushrooms anyway, but it's known that you just can't be out here eating everything that look just like the mushroom I get from the store. Don't do that. So, 800 are sick in Iran. So prayers out to them and wisdom to all of us, wisdom and insight and guidance. You're supposed to get with someone who knows what they're doing in your particular region because things look different in different parts of the country too. Hmm. Yeah. And I have books, but the way I understand it, I'm not gonna learn certain things. I'm not gonna learn from a book. I try to learn from people, and I'm taking my time. Okay, before their prime, before their prime targets, study confirms cops cutting down blacks earlier in life than whites. Now, what I did like about the way that Atlanta Black Star started this article is they were like in news that black folks already knew or already suspected or something like that. I thought that was kind of, I appreciated that. That seems sophisticated to me. Like, yeah. Um, each star is a different distance from Earth. So I'm not just looking at different areas of space, but different points in time. So it's something. I missed the rest. Um, yeah. And now the whole space time continuum is interesting to me because it's like where we intersect, where I am, it's like the continuum of space and time. And it's kind of like, whoa, where each of us is like, that's an interesting concept idea to me too. Um, so basically what it says is that cops kill white people, cops kill black people, but on average the black people that the cops kill are younger than the white people that the cops kill. So that's so it's impossible to see the constellations in real time. Yes, 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 it's like looking back in the past. I love that idea. I think it's beautiful. Tamir Rice's mother to open a cultural center for Cleveland youth in his name. Cleveland ain't that far away from me. I didn't realize that Tamir Rice was from Cleveland. That's the little boy who was on the playground with the toy gun and the cops pulled up. Somebody said there's somebody out here threatening, and the cops pulled up, and like within 5-10 seconds they had killed the child. That's Tamir Rice. A cultural center. So I guess in a way you could say, if you think of culture, sometimes you can think of that as like, creativity, like the transmuting of things into things, the transmuting of stuff into stuff that we can use, that we can benefit from, that we can, so I guess it's like culture, you know, is a creative process. So she's using, Kuumba. I think that story is so sad. I think that situation is so sad. I feel sad for, a mother to lose a child. And then under those circumstances, it's just, I have to look to see if that's who Tamir Rice is. But, um, just peace to all of us. And then it's like, with little kids, especially, also, if we were by one of the stars that's 20 light years away, and we were also able to see the Earth. We'd be looking back at 1998. A 12-year-old boy occurred November 27, 2014 in Cleveland, Ohio. Two police officers, 26-year-old and 46-year-old. That's awful for grown 20 like even a 26-year-old. You out here killing a 12-year-old. A 46-year-old man is out here killing a 12-year-old child. Like, what are you doing with your life? Like, how do you look in the mirror? Like, how do you feel any, like, pride in yourself or any sense of, I don't know. Like, it just seems like it would, like, it should destroy you and diminish you to be out here living like that. Like, who lives like that? Like, if I guess that would, like, I don't know. Yeah. 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 So rest in peace to Tamir, and just support and love, and to the mama. Robots can learn tasks by watching and mimicking humans. I thought that was an interesting headline, an interesting idea, because I think maybe there are some things that are innate, in children. Certainly, I've noticed in animals, like there are some things that are just innate, like it's just natural to them. Like, did their parents teach them that, or did they just already know that? So I imagine that there are like a lot of things that are probably innate to us as humans, like just built in, like children, babies know how to find the booby. And, like it's some stuff nobody is like, okay, baby, here's, nursing 101. This is what you have to do. Listen up and take notes. The child just know what to do. But I thought this headline about these computers, robots, it's like it could be like children. Children can learn tasks. They don't see our children as children. They always viewed as older through their eyes. They had issues. I didn't see the rest of it. So robots can learn tasks by watching and mimicking humans. Children can learn tasks by watching and mimicking adults. We all learn tasks by watching and mimicking each other. Of course, there's more than just watching and mimicking in a lot of learning. There's some discussion and analysis and breakdown. Because sometimes, even when you're watching stuff, you're not really understanding all of what's going on. I learned that when I tried to learn to do like drywalling, like just by watching, not drywalling, what is it called? Like the mud and tape, whatever. Like, it's like it's more to it than I could just see with my eyes in other departments prior to coming to Cleveland. And that's a common thing with these pigs, these cops, these people. Apparently they transfer them from they transfer from department to department to department. It's like it seems like, and I know this is not like a common sense world, but it just seems like common sense. If you got problems here, why am I going to hire somebody else's problems into my department? You know what I mean? But I guess what they really hiring is exactly what they want. Hey, Brother Yapple, I guess they want crazy ass murdering, pig butted pieces of doo doo. So I guess they like, yeah, you was out there murdering people. Come on, that's what we looking for. I guess. I don't know. Um, right. They out here hiring race soldiers. That's what they're looking for. I mean, obviously, it's obvious. I don't even have to guess. If I just look at it, Black Girl Magic, hashtag Black Girl Magic. Black woman overcomes foster care. I don't call them pigs anymore because actually pigs are relatively peaceful animals. They're more like wild hogs. Are wild hogs crazy? Boars, are they called boars, wild hogs? There's a story that's coming up where the cops had a pig in their back seat, and they're like, and before anyone calls us, makes the joke, we're already making the joke, so if you make it, you're not original or whatever. I never used the term pigs. When we were in school, I think we had a group called the Blue Pigs that would come around. Like when I was a child, they would like come around and sing and dance and give us candy and stuff. But I think they were called the Blue Pigs or something. But I mean, I know like back in the day, I don't call them at all because I don't want to get shot. But so but I don't. I mean, I just like I feel like language just fails me sometimes. Like I don't really have the terms. The language just does not seem to be able to capture, wild boars. Yes, they're very vicious. Oh, okay. Um, like the idea that um I, it wasn't a joke. I mean, it's not a joke. I don't know. The idea that like in Alaska they have 25, 50, I don't know, but to my ears when I first heard it, there were like a lot of different words for snow. Like I'm basically like, oh, there's snow. And I do have a concept of like that heavy, wet snow. I have a concept of like the light and fluffy snow. I have a concept that some snow it like melts, like it stays white on the grass, but it might be like might not see any snow on the pavement. So I might have like maybe 3 or 5 concepts of snow, but not like, what I've heard that the people in Alaska have. They have like a whole, different relationship with snow where or like I remember when I was a teenager, Reverend Charles Adams, who was my minister at the time at Hartford Memorial Baptist Church, who I just thought he was such a brilliant orator. I remember him talking about when he opened the Agape Center, which was like the love center. But I remember him talking about how I guess it was the Greeks had several words for love. So there was like brotherly agape, which was brotherly love. There was like romantic love. There were like all these different types of love. And I feel like when we like it seems like when like it's some of the things that I want to say is like I don't have the words for them, you know like in this language there aren't words for certain things, or that I don't know them, I can't find them you know they probably have other things to do, but it's just that they have such a relationship with snow that you could say like there's no school today. You don't want to say because there's snow. You're like there's no school today because it's booga booga snow, as opposed to there is school today because it's only tuka puka snow. Or oh, today is a good day for making snowballs because it's snowballer snow. Like I don't know. I love it. I love that. I love that. Because snow is like it's so flat and it could mean so much. Like that's how language is anyway. Any word. Schadenfreude is an excellent word. Is it a fight? Freud? I don't know. So, black woman overcomes a black hashtag Black Girl Magic. Black woman overcomes foster care, prison, and alcohol abuse to earn her college degree. So 10 claps for her. I'm gonna tell you her name. On one hand, it's kind of like I could look at it and be like, oh, a college degree, whatever. But then on another hand, I feel like it depends on the context. For some people, a college degree is whatever. For some people, it's a big accomplishment. I guess, oh, wow. She's my same age or about the same age as me. This woman looks a lot older than me. Her name is Kendra Jackson. She looks a lot older to me than to my eyes in this picture. I would never imagine that we were the same age. Probably if I spoke to her, I'd be like, oh, okay. Um, Picked up a drug habit that almost derailed her life. So I always want to applaud, because like what's an accomplishment for one person is not, but I feel like for her, given her context and her, what's going on, I feel like that's an accomplishment for her. So yay, Miss Kendra. 10 claps. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We did it by 2. I don't know. But anyway, yay, Miss Kendra. And I feel like whatever it is that you want to accomplish, that means when you get pleasure out of the misery of someone else, typically someone deserving the misery they're experiencing. I don't know about that word, yapo. Basically, when someone's bad karma catches up with them. I don't know. I think here recently, I don't think in general, I'm like one who's like, even though I have my Scorpio moon, I'm not really one who like, I'm so glad that they got what they deserved. I was so happy. I don't know. I just be like, I don't know. I don't get that much pleasure out of it, but I think I have this low grade fantasy. It's not really developed or sophisticated, but it's like, it's something about zero where I just really, really wish I could just see, you know, him get his. But then it's kind of like, if I see it, is it going to make my life better? Is it going to make, you know? And I told y'all there was this one time when there was this guy that I was really, really, really mad at. You love it. You love it. Love, 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 love it. There's this one guy I was mad at, and we went back and forth and back and forth. Yep, I think so too. But it's weird because why they getting revenge on us? And then I'm like, is it like like a deep seated, like a historical, like how we have memory in ourselves of things, even from this lifetime, but from other lifetimes. They say that, certain information is trans. So is it like I'm like, did we do something to white people that we just aren't acknowledging that we need to acknowledge? And my theory is that we kicked them out and we sent them away to the cold to die, and they didn't die. They multiplied, and then they came back mad and cold. Who want to be kicked out in the cold? It's unfounded hate. Okay. So anyway, I was mad at him. Oh, I was mad at him. I was mad at him because I had this stone. I used to sell crystals, like stones, like rose quartz. And this was a beautiful piece of rose quartz that he said, oh, I know someone. He was a friend of someone else in the store. He's like, I know someone who wants this piece of rose quartz. I'm gonna take it to her. I knew him in the context. It was like a $200, retail 200. It was probably 100 or 50 or whatever. But he took it and then he never brought it back. And so I kept, what's up? Where's my stone? What's going on? What's going on? And this was a big guy. And you probably can't tell through the camera, but I'm not really like a big woman. And it was kind of escalating for me because I just kind of felt like, so you just gonna jack me? Like you just gonna like take my rose quartz, like the stone of love? Like what we doing here? And so it was like I just couldn't seem to process that, like he's just stealing from me. Like he just not, you just not gonna bring I don't understand. What's going on? Yeah. Okay, if you say so, I don't know. I don't know if I was gonna say if you say so, I believe you too, but I don't think that's actually necessarily true. I would like to believe it. Hmm. Yeah, I don't think he'll really. I don't know, but anyway, so one day I said something to him, and I was kind of joking. I said, don't make me have to, come getting that behind. Bring me my stone back, brother. What's going on? Bring it back. Bring it back. And he was like, if you're feeling froggy, leap. And this was a guy who was like a boxer, a security guy. Like he was kind of, and I'm kind of like, if I'm feeling froggy, leap. And so we got into this whole big argument. And then he got up and he went outside and he was climbing up a ladder doing something for the store. And I was like, I'm about to go out there and kick that ladder out from underneath him. Because it's probably, I can't fight him. If I'm feeling froggy, I can't leap up and fight him because he's way bigger than me. So no, I'm not feeling froggy in that sense, sir. But I'm going to kick this ladder out from underneath you. And then we'll see who's feeling froggy and who can leap. How about that? So I was, getting ready to go. He was such a punk. I would have decked him for you. I was getting ready to go. And then like on the way, I was like, dang, now, if he fall and break his head, if he die, if he paralyzed, if something happened to him, how am I going to be feeling over $200, $50, $100? I'm not going to feel good about it, So I realized, I could now that I could visualize, and it was like, it ain't even worth it. I'm pissed. But over $200, I'd be feeling like, and that's on the high end. I wouldn't, so I was like, I'm just going to, let God, it would have put a smile on your face. It probably wouldn't. I don't know. I'm going to leave that whole, I'm just talking about for me personally. Now, I know other people do enjoy revenge, but I couldn't enjoy it for very long. At first, when I was like, what I can do, I can't fight you, but what I can do is kick that ladder out. I was like, yes, I got a plan. But it didn't, the joy didn't last for I would have walked away with a bounce in my step. With compassionate outreach, a city cuts its drug overdose rate in half. So, they got a lot of cue music roll credits, right? But then what happened after the music and the credits? Then you sit there and you be like, mm. You see the person rolling down the street in the wealth in they wheelchair, and you see the person's funeral, and you be like, mm. So they got compassionate outreach for the drug people now. A mess. They got compassionate outreach for the people now. When I was growing up and there was like an issue with drugs, and it was like, seemed to be black and brown people, it wasn't no compassionate, nothing. Well, they had compassion for all of the crack babies. Does anybody remember hearing about all of those crack babies? Oh, the crack babies. Oh, the crack babies. And it wasn't Mother Waddles here. It was somebody here who used to go and hold the crack babies. What happened to the crack babies? They grew up, but who are they? Can we identify in society who the crack babies are? Because it seemed like it. I feel like I'm starting to feel like, was it propaganda? You definitely remember the crack babies, but where are they? Can we like point to them now and be like, yeah, that was a crack baby. That was the result of the crack epidemic of the 1980s. Because I can't. I feel like it's the sugar babies. It's all kinds of other stuff going on in society. And these eight, it's, I don't know. I can't I feel like it was propaganda, but maybe I need more education. Activist says they are out here. You know some who you can tell are crack babies? Activists say Santa Fe High School shooter is alive because he's white. You do. Oh, we'll have to talk about that. I'll have to, because I'm like, I don't, yeah. Um, so this coming off of Atlanta Black Star. And I feel like, again, this is like, we know black people who kill for, oh my God, she had a tube of lipstick and I thought it was a hand grenade, so I shot her and killed her. So if I had shot and killed 5 or 10, especially white children, I'd be dead. So yeah, it's one of those kind of like, really, really, really. It's one of those kind of headlines. Um, People are selling their gift bags from Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's royal wedding on eBay. So they say, and I love a gift bag. Did you do favors at your weddings? I like wedding favors. I remember the concern about the crack babies. I never liked that term. They didn't do anything to deserve that label. Yeah. So, at my like the first, well, yeah, okay. So I like wedding favors, party favors. I like party favors. I like parties. I like events. So, these are supposedly worth, I think, $1,000. There are four of them on eBay now, and they're already selling for $1,200. So I just thought that was like interesting. Like, even when I get junk at a wedding, I have a hard time throwing it away. Like sometimes people give you like a tube of bubbles with their wedding date on it, and it's like, oh, thanks. And I feel like, really, if I was in my right mind, I just throw it away on my way out the door. Like, I don't need any bubbles. I don't need to be carrying this junk around. You know, I need to put it in the trash. You need something to put your trash in, so you're gonna pay $1,000. It's a little bitty bag. It's not gonna be enough for your trash. A woman had an ovarian cyst containing hair and bones, and it's as scary as it sounds. She was having bad it's high grade trash. Right, not your commoner trash, your royal trash. Like I always say, Bella, like when she's sitting on me, I don't want to disturb her royal hiney. um so she would have, like, before her period started, she would have like bad cramps and all of this other stuff. Now I don't understand these cysts that have hair and nails and stuff. What Does it mean that they were like becoming people or something? Or is it just like naturally if something is sitting in your body, like if a baby's sitting in your body, it's gonna get hair and nails. If a cyst is sitting in your body, it's gonna get hair and nails. Is that I don't how does that work? Why does it have hair and bones? Why? That's Detroit activists fight to keep gas station closed after Arab owner shoots, kills unarmed black man. So I saw this story. This is coming off of Atlanta Black Star, which is a national black publication. And I said to the people in Detroit, I didn't know anything about it. I said, y'all heard about this? And they say, yeah. So I guess I have to hear about it on the news feed. I don't know. I don't really watch local news. I don't have Facebook anymore. Oh, I shut off my Facebook. I shut off my Facebook last Saturday, but I hadn't been on it in a probably a couple few weeks or whatever. So I don't know how or when I would have heard about it. But being in Detroit, it seems like I should have heard about it. But yeah, an Arab owner shot and killed somebody. So people like, oh, you're not opening back up. Um, so I hope that um, you know I remember my art teacher Baba Aaron. He went into a store like I don't know if it was a Coney Island. It was in the Wayne State area. I heard about it after the fact, but he went into a store. I wasn't here when it happened, and that he's like an elder, and they were like, I don't remember what happened, but they pushed him or they were rude to him or whatever, and so people protested. That store is still that restaurant never opened up. Congratulations on your Facebook detox. Three claps. Yes. And I made my mother an administrator. I'm so tired of hearing about our people getting killed. Yeah. It is tiring. It's tiring. Um, but I made my mother an administrator of the page, so I'll probably work under her name on, the pitch black poetry stuff. But yep, I'm done. I got now what is interesting this year in terms of like Facebook and other things, I got a call from someone who had been, we had been friends before. He reached out to me and we hadn't been in touch. But anyway, so that was interesting. And then I got a call from a former client a coaching client. She reached out to me and she was like, I really, really appreciate the work that we did together. It was just like this. She just left this really, really nice long message. It was very sweet. And this is really, and it's been like 15 years since I dealt with her. And then when I posted twice on Facebook, I wanted to do it more regularly. Hey, I'm leaving. Hey, I'm going to be gone. Hey, this is how you can stay in touch with me other than Facebook. And somebody who at first I didn't quite recognize who it was, but we went to college together, and he was like, I haven't been as good in staying in touch with good people that I wanted to, and and this is my contact information in Georgia, and he was cool. He was like, husbands and are welcome, like I'm not trying to hit on you. I'm just saying, I'm gonna miss you on Facebook. Where you going? Why you going? This is jacked up, and I don't really feel like I'm gonna, maybe it's probably laziness on my part to not leave Facebook, but so it's kind of like an interesting year. I feel like that's gonna be the theme for this year. It's gonna be like a throwback. And it's some other, kind of throwbacky things. And I'm kind of like trying to figure out how I feel about the whole concept of a throwback, you know? Because I think in general, I feel like when I'm done, I'm done. But I know with my first husband, when we separated, and he was like, "Hey, let's," I was like, "Okay," because I married you, and so we got to do everything we can do till we both feel like it's a wrap. We can't just be like, "Forget it, it's over," if it's not really over. So I mean, I guess I did do that, but I already knew it was a wrap when I agreed. In my heart, I was like, "Okay. Okay, I'll go to India." Okay. I don't think it's gonna change what's going on with but I'll go to India, and it changed my life, but not in that way. So it's a throwback year. I think it's gonna be. Um Another hashtag driving while black incident in Kansas, but this time over vegetation. So the cops say they put the guy over for a tail light. It's like separating from white people first mentally, then physically. Yeah, and I think usually when I mentally, and but it's like it's interesting because I remember when I was dating, I would notice this because it was probably like when I started dating, and but like it was probably like a 2 year cycle. So there were people who actually loop back who you were like, oh, I'll never talk to him again. And then they loop, you'd be like, oh, like it's a cycle. Some people have a 2 month cycle, some people have a 12-year cycle. Different people have different. What led you to India? My ex-husband. And I'm like ever ready. If you like, let's go, I'll be like, I'm ready, I got my bag. Let's go. Where are we going? I don't even care where we going. Where we going? I'm ready. Let's go. And actually, his mother, probably about 2 years, maybe two. It might have been more than that. It might have been like 4 years before that. His mother was like, she does at that time. I don't know what she's doing now, but she was doing work throughout the African world. But she was like, hey, I'm going to India, something, something, something. And it was like an opportunity for me to go. And I was like, okay, yeah. And it didn't end up working because most of her work was in Africa, on the African continent, out Kibalan. But so it was kind of like that. It kind of planted in my head, like, oh, India. I never thought of India. 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 What's up, love like the sun? So when by the time it looped back around, I guess I was really like, but I don't like Indian food. Am I gonna starve to death? What am I gonna eat? What am I gonna do? But it was good. Um, yeah, I forgot what I was saying. So anyway, so this person was why does the word dating rhyme? Oh yeah, cause you're crazy. That's why. Peace and love, Yapo Bonafide. Oh. Um, so this person, they pulled the person over for a broken tail light, whatever the lie was. They pulled a person over, and then he had like a branch or something under the windshield. It sounded like like a piece of leaf or whatever. I don't know. And they're like, they want to test it, and basically implying that he has weed on his windshield. It was some dumb foolishness. It was something really, really dumb. Like, I don't know. But anyway, I don't think he's alive, but it's like it escalated pretty quickly. The way it sounds, I don't know if it's in the same state as the older woman. Remember the other day they were like a 63-year-old woman or whatever. This happened to her with the cops and how it escalated. They mentioned her in this article, but I couldn't figure out if it was because of the locale or because of the quick escalation. But basically, in both cases, the cop was like, I'm in charge here. You know how they're like emotionally immature and needy, and they like, I'm the boss, all of that weird bull. So yeah, that was going on. How Venezuela's crisis developed and worsened. So dang, you got a whole system. Psychological, social, I didn't catch it all. It sounds like a pamphlet or a book. How to separate the bona fide way to separate. Step one. So I don't know really what's going on in Venezuela now. I think Venezuela is the country where we're seeing all of the people evacuate, and it's like, oh, Venezuela, psychological, social, financial, physical, and geographical. Um, so I think we're seeing like, oh gosh, Venezuela is so bad there. It's so offered like a step-by-step detox. I guess it depends on the nature of the relationship. Can't you have a separation where it's not like it hasn't been a toxic situation, but maybe it's just like a situation that didn't work out? I mean, I'm just saying. Yeah, exactly. No, not no, no to the detox. Detox before you get into the situation. Be selective about what's. I'm not talking to you about this foolishness this anymore. No more. So Venezuela, I'm kind of like, what's up with Venezuela? And I had kind of like gotten this theory like, oh, so they were a socialist or a communist, and that's why there's so much like hatred or something going on toward, there's so much vitriol toward Venezuela. And somebody had told me the other day, not when it comes to white, black. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like I'm not going to have the conversation on you know, I could probably talk about relationships more than anybody, definitely more than anybody that I know. But this whole like writing back and forth about relation, like I just feel like I have too many questions. There's like it's just very like, it feels very like unsatisfactory to me, like quippy, like, you get bits and pieces. I'm like, I don't really understand the context. I don't know so it's like I can't really get at the songs. I have to like, talk to somebody. No, not in terms of relationships. Yeah. You know, it doesn't even make sense to me. I'm watching this dog. I don't know what he's looking at. Um, So Venezuela, oh, it's a communist country, and somebody said the problems that they're having is because it was a communist or socialist country. And then I thought, it can't be done right. You need intense therapy, sir. You need intense therapy. So, and this happened because they were communists, and I'm like, but I don't think the administration is communist or socialist now. And it's like, no, I'm like, well, the breakdown seemed to be now. But anyway, I'm skimming the article, and it says Venezuela is rich in oil. I'm like, oh, oil? It has the largest proven oil reserves in the world. I'm like, oh, Lord, I should have known there was something like this going on with Venezuela. I've, okay. And then I'm, looking to look, and then I see President Hugo Chavez, who I really don't know anything about Hugo Chavez, but I have heard his name in progressive context. So I'm like, President Hugo Chavez was probably, and then they even say here that he died in 2013. He used some of that money. He used some of that money to finance generous. Nigeria has huge oil reserves as well. Hugo Chavez Castro and most of South Americans were doing business. See, this is the stuff, right? Yes, yes. Right. I can't, and that's part of the problem. I can't even smack you through the TV. If I try to smack you, I'm just going to go up because I'm going to knock my tablet down. That's why I'm just going to leave you alone. um, So he used some of that to finance generous social programs to reduce inequality and poverty. So I feel like, just like my theory, I'm like, is something up with this Venezuela thing? It's not really making sense, but it does make sense now because I feel like, probably, the imperial, they after the money, and they done, demean the man's, the country, it's like it's probably just some bullshit after the money, after the oil. That's what makes sense to me. So I'm kind of like, oh, I should have known. I should have known. I should have known, you know. College admission recruiting, biased or broken. So I don't know if they still talk about it, but there was this whole thing called need blind admission. Natural resources is the name of the game. America has very little, right? Always about money. So there was this thing called need blind admissions when I did, work with young people around college admissions. And it's like basically we're going to look, when we look at you, we are not going to be looking at you in terms of your ability to pay for the education here. We're just going to be looking at you in terms of your ability to contribute to the environment, to thrive, to be a good member of our, community. And usually it was an elite perspective because other schools, they were admitting people who they thought could pay because they didn't have the luxury of being like, oh, we'll just admit the best and the brightest and then we'll figure out the money thing later. That's something we rich people can do. When you got to be like, we got to figure out the money thing now before we make the admissions decisions because we got to pay these bills. then, if you're not an elite college, you don't have no big endowment sitting around waiting for, oh, she's such an exceptional, young woman from, modest means, but we'll make it work. You ain't really got that type of, so it was, even then, the conversation was primarily in the context of certain types of institutions. But now I guess it's less and less common, even in those kind of like the voice for academics, kind of like the voice for academics, right? Not based on how you look, how skinny you are. Yeah. All of this, what? The saddest thing about all of this, what? Hugo Chavez? No. I feel like we're looping back to something, but I miss what we're looping back to. Um, so they're just talking about the fact that a lot of schools, they're not looking for like they're looking for talent in rich white communities. They ain't looking for talent, which you can find in any community, in poor black communities. They looking for rich white people because they figure they can pay. And so a lot of people aren't getting into schools because don't have certain options because they don't have money. So it's just like a continuation of the black tax and the poor tax, and an extension, a magnification, another example of the same old stuff. That was coming off of Moguldom, and this new blog. I don't know why it started showing up in my news feed, but they, it seems like they generally have. I skimmed the article, but it used to be like a area that I thought a lot about. I haven't thought about it in a long time. A cosmetic company introduced a 4-day work week. Y'all ain't got just come in 4 days a week, not the U.S. messing with oil-rich countries. I mean, yeah. It seems like so much of it just seems like so many things in society could be better. A 4-day work week. Remember the book 4 Hour Work Week? It seems like so many things in society could be better, with the elimination of, like, greed. Really should be a 3-day work week. Exactly. I feel like it should be a 2-day work week and a 5-day weekend. Or really, I just feel like, I don't know. It's some places where I've worked where it really felt like work, and it really felt like on the weekend, like, whoo. And then there's some work environments where I've been in where it was just like I didn't really have like a sense of time in that way. You know how they say time flies when you're having fun? There have definitely there's been work that I've done where, time kind of flied and I didn't feel like it's what time is it? It's only 9:10 and I've been here for 10 minutes and I'm already wore out. A 1-day work week, we could be like Congress. Yep, yep, exactly. Cancer, all it's like, yeah, a 4-hour work week. There's a book if you haven't read it. I love that book when I read it 3 or 5, 10 years ago. I liked it. And I still, it still comes up in conversation and I recommend it to other people. Meet George Jetson. Somebody was talking about with that show. They were like, where do the black people live? And their mother told them the black people live someplace better. 2-hour work week. So anyway, this cosmetic company introduced a 4-day work week, and you know what happened? Their sales increased. And I mean, one of the things in the book, The 4-Hour Work Week, that I thought was so interesting is one of the points that he made is get yourself to where the people are not watching. See, where the people are not watching you, because basically when the people are watching you, they trying to control what you do. If you can get your work done in 5 hours, excuse me, ma'am, I know it's a lot going on. It's like we get attacked the most. I got to read it again because I missed it. Because you started off with this, excuse me, ma'am, pardon me, could I cut in? And I got distracted. I'm like, wait, what's going on? Who is the ma'am? Is there someone behind me? So when somebody, I might have to read it on the replay. It's a lot going on around because I know these issues are going to take us specifically. I got to look at it again. So say something else and then I'll read the last part of it. Um, But you got to get to where you can work at home where they can't see you, because if they see you, they want to see you busy and working, all 40 hours. But if you can get done in 5 hours what somebody else take to get done for 40 hours, then why should you be, if you're getting the job done, you should be paid for the job, not for the number of hours. And so they like, get yourself where the people can't see you and then just take care of your business. And I'm like, yes, I totally understand that. These people with their looky eyes, and they trying to manage you and run you. It's going to take us how long we get attacked. It's like we get attacked the most. Yeah, we do get attacked the most. Germans do something. You just in love with Germany. Ustedes, that's the formal form of you. Ustedes, how do you say love? Te amo. Ustedes amas, I don't know, say, amas Germany. Okay. Está bien, está bien, está bien. So anyway, yeah, see. And so, yeah, the people are happier and the money is better. And that's usually, the case when you be trying to run people and manage stuff. You make yourself miserable and the other people miserable, and the money don't, just jack everything up. Just be happy. Let us be free. Give us free. Get us free. Let us be free. The top secret sketches of Meghan Markle's iconic royal wedding dress have been revealed, and her gown is truly a work of art. Now, when I saw the imagery, I was like, ew, I don't like the way that her dress looks. It looks like something she got off the rack of like a secondhand store. It doesn't fit her. It doesn't seem to compliment her. It's not beautiful to me, to my eyes. I was just like, ew. As far, I'm not like a wedding dressy person, but like as far as wedding dresses go, I was like, ew. That's like an anti-advertisement for whoever made it. And it's a big designer who made it, like Givenchy or whatever. Something about Mother Africa, Mute, a wonderful land. So then I saw in this little thing that she designed it, and I'm like, I think she should stick to, playing the role of an actress. Like, and I think like as an actress, I feel like now that seems like that would be a fun role. 6 weeks mandatory paid vacation. Of course, getting healthcare paid by your taxes helps as well. In Canada, in the summertime, they have, I think they get every month they get a long weekend or something like that. I heard about. But I think like as an actress, now I don't know how long I could play the role, because when you do like stuff on Broadway, like it probably gets tired after a while, like after a year or after 3 years of doing the same thing. Are you like, oh, how do you keep it fresh? But it seems like as an actress playing the role of like being in love and like looking at him adoringly and like, oh, like, it seems like it would be like a fun role to play. So like, it's like, so I just thought it was fascinating, like this actress is playing, because I'm sure there's like a lot of acting in, when you're a public figure, you have to pretend a lot, even like, in certain work situations, like, people are looking at you and you have to act sometimes a certain way, even like dealing with customers, you may think they're crazy, but you can't be like, ma'am, you're crazy, beat it. You have to be like, oh yeah, I see what you pretend, you act, you lie, you fake it. So, wait, what? Andy Cohen feels Kim Zolciak was ganged up on during the Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion. The people be saying on these lies, they be talking about they on code. I think that's what's going on. I think Andy Cohen is being on code, like the white people's code. But like we all saw it happen. What? Y'all didn't see, because y'all probably are a better class of people than me. You don't watch stuff like the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But for those of us who do, who might be watching on the replay, you see what I'm saying? Andy Cohen. White people. Come on now. Cut it out. That's what they do. That's their speciality. Oh, the poor white girl's tears. Critics call out hypocrisy of supporting Meghan Markle's dating habits while bashing Donald Glover's. Now, what I thought was interesting about this is I think about like the wealth transfer. And so it's sort of like, I think about the wealth transfer, like when I'm like, wow, this black person has amassed all this wealth and now it's being transferred over to, like white people or to, whiter people. But then I was also thinking about it in terms of, I can't remember, I think we were talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac, or somebody was talking about it the other day in terms of the black woman, I feel the sorriest for customer service people. I couldn't do that. Like, ma'am, I'd be like, ma'am, you're crazy. Crazy, sir, you're crazy. Get out of here. Beat it. Yeah. And I've literally had people, hey, Marlowe's Corner. I've literally had people who I thought were like certifiably, but I think it's like a personality thing. I think, some people, um, I don't know what Rick and Morty is. I'm sure it's classy as you are, sir. It's probably trashy, huh? Um, but I think of like, so I wasn't thinking about it in terms of like the wealth transfer necessarily for Megan or Donald Glover, but I think of she like are the people marrying up or are the people marrying down. Now that's like a very classist thing to say, because I don't necessarily like buy into this whole thing of like, oh, you married down, or like he's, or she's, I don't, but I just think it's an interesting conversation to have, and I'd like to have like a conversation not about like the specific people, and also not about like well, black women are bad or white black men are bad, but just like, you know, like there, like I feel like there's something aside, well, like after the emotions, I'm interested in like the analysis of why people do what they do. Like, so like, especially like in the sexual context, like if someone is a sugar baby, like why are they doing it? What are they getting out of it? Is sugar baby in fact the same as a whore? I heard somebody on a video saying that somebody was a Playboy, they were in Playboy, so they were basically a whore. And I think that, I think sometimes somebody could be in Playboy and be a whore, but I don't know if they're necessarily like one and the same all the time. And I don't know if just because you show your body, it means that you're, like I just feel like there's like a lot of subtlety, but like in certain subjects, sometimes we get like very like, she has on a short skirt, whore, send her to hell. And you're like, wait a second, hold on, sugar baby. Yeah, I'm fascinated by the whole, like the transactional nature of relationships. Because I told you, I have a great aunt who, this is my sense of the story. This is what I've gathered from my family, that she was married. Good afternoon, August Dream. She was married. And she was happily married, but her husband dealt with other women. But she didn't care because, like, for example, when washing machines and dryers came around, she was the first one in her community to have a washer and dryer. And that was important to her. That was the nature of their relationship. That was their agreement. She was happy, he was happy, we all happy. I mean, why am I gonna be mad because he cheating if she not mad? I mean, if it's, or and maybe it's not even cheating. So it's sort of like, I feel like if two people come to an arrangement that works well for them, and I wish that we could, like, I just like, I'm curious about how people come to the arrangements that they come to, and like what's really going, because like on inside of a relationship, like what's really going on, and and then I think that gets into like sexuality too, because like we don't really talk about it, but like, everybody like it's so personal and it's so intimate and it's so individualized. Like I don't think there is like normal, like, oh, in a normal relationship, you have to do your money like this. Oh, in a normal relationship, these are the rules. Oh, like I think, I don't know if it would work for me to have, multiple, husbands or be a part. But for some people, maybe it does work. I don't know. I don't know. Like an arranged marriage, like I don't know. I just think I think people are interesting. She reached a level of comfort that she was happy with. And shoot, maybe maybe she ain't want to be bothered with him, but she wanted to be bothered with his money. Right. And then I feel like this, I personally feel like the same way in a way with swirling. Like my concern about interracial relationships, like like sometimes I think it's hard to tease things apart because there's so much emotion and so much judgment there. But I feel like I do think that theoretically in an ideal world, and we're not in an ideal world. But I think theoretically, in an ideal world, there's no accounting for taste and who's going to be attracted to who. But I do think that it's suspicious that all, like, that there's like, I think that the patterns that we see of attraction are more a reflection of this white supremacy or valuing white people over black people, than, you know, just people's natural attraction. Like, I think some people, naturally like whatever they like. I don't know, but I just wish we could talk more about it without, you know, it seems like so many subjects are so like laden with, it's hard to tease stuff out because people are so emotional. Yeah, weren't so one-sided in the media toward us. Yeah. It would be nice if a lot of things weren't the same way. I mean, weren't the way they were. How can we use our Kuumba? And then I just like the idea of, like, I feel like when somebody, I heard somebody say this last night, when somebody has a fetish, it's good because they know what they like and they can, and I feel like I like when people know who they are, like, this is me and this is what I like. I don't like garlic. I like kiwi, or whatever. Like, I like when people, it's something very like, and everybody is so, special and unique and individual, and like, it's fascinating to me. You know, a lot of times I don't feel like we. A lot of times I don't feel like we really know ourselves, and I don't feel like we feel like it's safe to like be who we are. Like, we have to be like, I have to be normal. I have to, and and then we saw like the juiciness, the interest, it's like nobody is normal. Everybody is just who they are. How black folks turn white tears into a cultural event with extra sauce. Step back, ma'am. It depends on, maybe somebody has a fetish, like you have a beard, and maybe somebody has a fetish for beards, or maybe somebody has a fetish for knuckles, or it doesn't have to be like, we think of fetishes as like, you gave your safe word, and there's no Sonya C's here to say big breastises. But I think we just like, because it's such a loaded subject, I think, we think of it as like, oh, she's gonna beat me. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just think people are really interesting and unique and beautiful, Um, so we heard about, what did they call her? Barbecue. Speaking of Donald Glover, he said it was a turn on for him when yeah, I can't. Right. And then there's this whole like, in the BDSM movement, there's this whole thing black where black people are slaves, and it's just like, I just mentally, it's just like, but I think that, like, and I think stuff like that is hardwired too, you know so I hate to, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, I talked about it yesterday. You didn't hear me. Yes, he did. It was a joke. It was he said it was a joke. I can't. I can't. I can't. And that's yeah. I don't know. So we heard about, was it Barbecue Becky being like, black people are here, and a lot of it black women. A joke, not funny. Yeah, but he was telling, I heard it in a joking context. When I first cut my hair, when I had short hair, it was like all of a sudden white men started looking at me and talking to me, and I had never had that before. So like, I don't know what it was, but I'm like, oh, you know. So we heard about Barbecue Becky and being like, the black people are here and they're using charcoal grills. Oh my God, they're touching me. They're beating me. Hurry up and get here, cops. Barbecue Becky. And now they made the meme of her, used that imagery in a lot of different contexts. So this week, I think on Sunday, I think, was it 1,500? A whole bunch of black people got together in that park. I think it was the same park in Oakland, and they had a party. And the cops and the police were like 1,500. I saw her image on a t-shirt. Oh, I wouldn't buy it. But they told that behind up. They got in they I feel embarrassed. I know she probably don't feel embarrassed, but I teen phone tracking app exposed thousands of Apple accounts. So the parents are trying to they got an app to keep up with their children because they're trying to keep their children safe. And so now the children's information has been exposed. Basically, like beep, beep, beep. Here's a whole bunch of children. It's been exposed. It's been hacked. It's been compromised. So it's like the people who were trying to keep their children safe have now, they've been identified and like of all of the numbers, now they know the child predators. What is happening to Barbecue Becky is classic Schaffenburg revenge. I wonder if revenge really captures it. Je ne sais. Yo no say. Y'all don't know. Barbecue Becky has been getting a royal roast. No pig. That's why I don't like pork. I never was the pig, the big payback. That's a song. Schadenfreude. 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 Look what I'm doing with my mouth. Schadenfreude. I think that's probably my German accent mouth. I'll have to pay attention. Exercising regularly can keep heart and arteries young. So I think in this article, now there's always, it seems like whenever I look at these health articles, it's always like, 3 times a week, the big payback, the pig playback. It's a song. I can't think of it but there's always like, 2 days a week, 3 days a week for a half an hour can make all the difference. But this one is saying like, I think it's like 5 days a week. I don't know how many hours they say, but talking about keeping, yourself young and vibrant and healthy, and just move and drink water and eat good quality food, elevate your eating, eat more raw foods, more raw vegetables. The big play payback. I know that, but it's like I'm trying to get it, like I can hear but I can't go beyond that to like get into it. January 10, 1966, Vernon Dahmer Sr.'s home is firebombed. I lived in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and that's where Werner Dahmer was from. And I had never heard of him before I lived there. But he ran the NAACP, the Jefferson, is it Jefferson County branch? I can't even now remember what county I was in, but he ran that branch of the NAACP, and he was killed, for that. But I had never heard of him before that. I think that's wonderful to hear. Now, you know what my theory is about stuff like that. I always advise people to, instead of focusing on what you're stopping, just focus on what you're starting. So just start eating more and more fresh fruits and vegetables. Start eating more and more meatless meals. And then, some things may just fall away without you even having to, like, they just, by you ignoring them, they just fall away and die off. Just because you're focusing on what's good for you. Um, so that was January 10, 1966. See, you wouldn't much notice. New Zealand PM Jacinda Ardern takes stage as hologram. And first they said she was the first public official to do it. They said, I guess that has Prince. There were two performers, I think, and I think they were both black performers. And it's sort of like, dang, in a way you feel like, dang, even in their death, you can't let them rest in peace. You got to drag them out to perform after they did. I mean, Lord. But anyway, I think it was two black performers who have been hologram. Little by little, if you try to quit cold turkey, you'll just wind up eating that cold turkey. That's what I think, but a lot of people tell me who are vegetarians, I just stopped. I just stopped everything. I didn't. First, I stopped beef, then I stopped pork, then I stopped chicken, then I stopped fish, then I stopped dairy. I'm not a vegan, but at that time, I stopped dairy, then I stopped sugar, And then I remember one time after I hadn't had sugar for a long time, I had some sugar, and it was like I was like, I was like, oh my gosh, like I could really feel it in my system. It was very intense. I was like climbing the walls, like, oh my God. I guess I was high. I think I was high because I was like, I don't know. This is like, woo, woo, sugar, sugar, sugar. It's like, I gotta stay away from this. This is serious. Speaking of drugs, sugar, my Achilles heel. Everything I ever kicked, totally kicked, I kicked cold turkey. I guess it depends on the person. Yeah, I think it is a personality thing. Um, and I think that sugar thing, now, there are a couple of good books out there. The last book I read, the first book I read on sugar was like maybe Sugar Blues. I think it was called The Sugar Blues. Much more sensitive afterwards. Yeah, I was very sensitive. I'm talking to August Dreams, but the first book I read was The Sugar Blues. But the last book I read, and I might have done a review on this channel, or I might have done something on Facebook, but it talked about sugar in Sugar Blues was interesting because I didn't really know about the sugar diabetes. I just knew about diabetes. You know, I didn't know that people knew it was a connection. And then the whole thing with the white flour, white potatoes, white rice, you know, and the sugar, that whole connection. Now, I had heard that through people who were in Overeaters Anonymous, like, you know, that if you eat certain things, they trigger your sugar craving or whatever. Like all of those things are connected. But so that was kind of interesting from the Sugar Blues. But the last book I read was like more like political, like how sugar came to be such the thing that it was. And it was interesting and fascinating to me that like a couple hundred years ago, a few hundred years ago, most of us, like the amount of sweetness that we've become accustomed to was not even that, like that was programmed into our taste buds. That's like not natural, you know, that like, you know, and so that I don't know why that kind of I've heard that caffeine triggers sugar cravings. Sugar was difficult for me. I still have a little of it, but not enough to mention. Will likely knock that off too. But you know, that sweetness, and I suspect that the sweetness triggers our sugar craving in this context, but like how, you know, like feel donuts and, you know, like that sugar is one, or, you know, gets you, because different things get different people. Um, but anyway, speaking of sugar and addiction, 100 pounds of sugar a year, right? And that's not like 100 years ago, 200 years ago in another cultural context. That's not, and like, and that was the other thing in the sugar, I think it was the Sugar Blues. They were talking about how like in the day they had contests like for savory meals, how could you use sugar, like the sugar. But I never heard of putting sugar in the pot. And then you start looking at the ingredients, you like, it's sugar in the pasta sauce, it's sugar in this. And then I've even seen people put sugar in their mac and cheese. It's like, I'm going to get so far away from sugar that the next time I get married, I'm going to make sure she's a bitter woman. You ain't getting married, Libra. That's why I don't believe you, because that's like, I know I have a girlfriend who she'd be like, oh, I'm not going to get married. I'm going to have me 4 different men, and each man. And I'm like, please, Libra, I don't believe that for 1 minute. I'm substituting honey instead of sugar. It's been gradual. Yeah, experiment with some other things too. Now, as I tried to, over the years, like I remember at one point, people were like, honey, it rots your teeth from the outside. You got to use agave. I mean, from the inside, you got to use agave. And then people were like, oh, agave is so good for diabetes. And other people are like, agave is awful for, I think dates is my new favorite thing. And I got introduced to dates as a substitute for sugar when I was dating my husband. Now he introduced me to that, and I'm like, I am not putting any dates in my smoothie. Like that doesn't even make sense. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, like should I put 4 dates, 8, 12? Today I put 10, and it's like it's so sweet. Like I don't know. I'm like in love with the dates, but it took me a long. Y'all know I'm slow. I'm like that's suspicious. Oh, I eat whole dates. I have dates in my bag as an emergency snack. So like if I'm out and I love dates with Pure stevia. See, I've never gotten into stevia. I love dates with Brazil nuts. Now, I try to stay away from nuts unless I'm soaking them because, ideally it's supposed to be better absorbed into your system if it's soaked. If it's a nut, seeds are different. But Brazil nuts and dates, I love that combination. So here recently, I got like a big old bag of Brazil nuts. So I've been eating Brazil nuts and dates for the last couple, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. It's like my backup snack in my bag all the time, ready to go. But I'll do the same. I'll just do dates. Like, and I could eat, like, if I'm out someplace and I don't have, a viable alternative, if I can put something on my stomach so I'm not starving, then I'm going to be able to make better choices. Yeah, I've never used pulverized dates. I just get the whole dates and I eat them or throw them in the smoothies or eat them with, and I've tried to use them in baking, but I've never been really happy with my date. Like when I use whole dates in baking, I've never been really happy. Yeah. I don't know about cashews because I don't work with cashews so much. But I know one time I made this cashew cream. I was looking at some recipe and it was supposed to be like whipped cream and it was absolutely delicious. But almonds, like the nuts, not the seeds, like pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, flax seeds, you don't have to soak those, but the nuts, it's something about how your system absorbs them. And I don't know if everybody believes that, but that's what I like. I hear all kinds of stuff, and then I try to incorporate it. So like if I know, okay, I'm gonna make a smoothie. Like today, I use frozen coconut, so I didn't and bananas, so I didn't use any nuts or anything. But like I would soak my nuts overnight, and then in the morning rinse them and use them for the smoothie. But you can probably Google it and read the pros and the cons. And then really, I feel like the best thing for me, I try to like feel how things feel in my system. Like when how does this feel to me? Because if people, I think like I read there was this one book like Eat Right for Your Blood Type. I don't know what my blood type is. They make me feel sick to my stomach. Oh, see. I don't know what my blood type is, but I'm like, yeah, it probably does make sense that different people, different things would work for different people. For years, bananas used to make me feel a little queasy, like just to eat a banana. Like, I really don't like to eat a banana, probably because of that. But for years, I couldn't really, now I buy the ones that are supposedly organic. I think I noticed the banana, this is totally off the subject, but I think I noticed the banana seed in my smoothie the other day. Because I'm like, why don't I see banana? I used to seem like I used to notice banana seeds, and then I stopped noticing, but not always bananas. And then also, they make my throat scratchy in the inside. Speaking of drugs, India police extract sugar drugs. India police extract 106 cocaine capsules from woman's stomach. So we've heard about this before, people swallowing little, containment things with drugs so that they could be mused and get through, or I don't know how the drug dealers or whatever do it, but she had 106 capsules and they said that's the biggest that they've ever found. And this was in the Indian police caught her. Folks on a lot of sugar, religion, and cocaine are tough at times. Folks on a lot of sugar, religion, and cocaine are tough sometimes. Folks on a lot of religion are tough sometimes. Folks on a lot of sugar are tough sometimes. Folks on a lot of cocaine are tough sometimes. I don't know if I understood. I'm trying. When I had my camera over here, I noticed yesterday I missed all kinds of comments. It made me feel sad, like, I didn't see that you said that. um, so that was the largest that they had are tough at times. Well, y'all got it. That's good. Deadly Nipah virus claims victims in is storming. It's hard to drop some addictions. Yeah. And then it's like some addictions, I don't know, like some people say like exercising too much is an addiction or exercising is an addiction. Oh, and puppies and also got caught. But I wonder about some addictions, like some things that they say are addictions, like, It seemed like some things are harder on you than others, you know, in terms of being addictions. Yesterday or whatever day we were talking about rain, and everybody was like, yeah, it's raining here, it's raining there, and it wasn't raining here. And then right after I got off the live, it started raining. I'm like, it's raining here, but y'all were gone. I couldn't tell you. Deadly Nipah virus claims victims in India. NIPAH. Yes. I think people become addicted to people all the time. And I think some relationships are healthy and some relationships are not healthy. And I think it probably depends on your personality too, you know? Like I think probably some people are like more, you know, like I think I'm like very like people oriented, so I'm like probably more likely to become, I don't know, addicted, but like, you know, like yeah, I think I probably get addicted to people than probably the normal person. You know, like when I started dating as an adult, I was like, oh my God, I'm crazy. I'm like, it's called obsession. I don't know if I might be obsessed. But I noticed as an adult, I'm like, oh my God, I'm really crazy. But not to the point where I was like, you know, like I could, because I was an adult, I could manage myself, but it was like I really had to manage myself. Because I'm just, I don't know. Yeah. It's like a book. I disagree. I disagree. I disagree. That's my French mouth. I disagree. No, that's not my French mouth. I don't know. Santa Fe, oh, wait a second. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the Nipah virus, yes, you would. LOL. You would. Could illegal mines and I would become obsessed? We're on the same wavelength, my brother. Could illegal mines in Ghana lead to an increase in chocolate prices? So, cacao. I was did I tell you I was reading about the pineal gland? I didn't get into any in-depth research, but I found out that cacao is one of the things that decalcifies the pineal gland. Bona fide, I think you had said, you know, fluoride and all of that. You don't seem like the get obsessed type. Yeah, I am in the inside, but I'm grown enough to, manage it. But I'm like, you know, yeah. Um, so cacao is one of those things that's good for your pineal gland. So I'm like, yay, I eat cacao and I love raw cacao. Just like out of hand. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So in Ghana, they produce chocolate cacao. But there are some illegal mines that are being done. I think they're gold mines. They found some gold deposits or something. So a lot of these cacao places where they've been farming cacao, they like, forget the cacao. We about to get to this gold. There's more money in there. Fluoride is horrible for the pineal gland. Um, yep, they're turned into illegal gold mines. But isn't cacao the real gold? I mean, what is gold good for? When I was thinking about it, it's like I have seen people put gold in like mostly like in the like I've noticed it not so much African Americans, but the Africans sometimes like in their locks or their hair here in Detroit. I noticed it. I'm like, oh my gosh, those beads are really beautiful and it's really pretty with the hair and everything. But what is gold really good for? I mean, I'm not really like a gold chain kind of person. You could make raw cacao pancakes with bananas in a dehydrator. So delicious. I've never gotten into the dehydrators, partially because a lot of the ones I see are plastic, and I'm not like a fan of like the plastic. Um, I was looking the other day, and it's like I really want to start doing tabbouleh again, but it's like I need a food processor that's why I was trying to get into that one pot thing because it's like stainless steel. And a lot of times rice cook, whatever. A lot of times I'd be like, I'm not. I'm not eating out of that, or I try to minimize it. So I never got into the whole dehydration thing. And I know some people say you could like put it in your oven at like 200 or 250 or whatever. I don't know how that works, but yeah. But I just like to eat cacao. Like what I realized when I was around people who were like really, really into raw, I realized that I was not like that kind of person. Like somebody had said something like, the best food processor that I had processed, I don't know how many teeth I have, but these teeth in my mouth, that's what I use to grind stuff up. I'm not like when I worked, there was a chef that I worked with and she did raw food plates. So she would do like pasta and brownies. Now, those raw brownies, that was the first time I ever dealt with dates and cacao. Those were delicious. But I mean, it's so many steps. It's so complicated. I'm not really like, I just rather eat 3 bananas or 2 apples or, a handful of cacao and some dates and mix it in my mouth and be like, it tastes good. But the whole processing and all of that, like I don't really have it. If it's like even juicing, like I realized like I stopped juicing because it's like by the time you go through all of the work, like I did get this wide mouth juicer, but it was plastic. But by the time you go through all the work to cut the stuff down so that it fits in the juicer, and then by the time your juice is made, you have to hurry up and clean up the juicer, and it's just kind of like it just felt like too much work. It's like I'll just get the juice when I chew up the apple or the carrot, and I don't need and then when you juice and it's like 1,000,000 carrots, like who eats 1,000,000 carrots? Is that how, like I feel like in an emergency crisis situation, like something's gone wrong. Okay, let's get this alkaline water. Let's get these 1,000,000 carrots. Let's pump your system. But I just feel like in day to day living, why I need so many carrots? I can eat like probably 2 or 3, but gold is good for channeling certain energies, like a sort of conductor. Copper. Yeah, my mother loves copper and uses it. Um, you know, and somebody was saying the other day that while water absorbs everything, gold absorbs nothing, which I thought was interesting. I'm like, now that's something to think about. I don't know. But I still feel like I'm a bigger fan of cacao than gold. Yeah, I don't know if it's true. I just read it. Like I did a quick Google search of pineal gland. Dang, I missed all of your comments about gold being plentiful and it wasn't nothing, no big deal, artificially inflated by Europeans. Hey, Myosha, did I say hi? We should have like a good food chat. Somebody should host. Maybe the Information Man show will have some people on to talk about food and nutrition. um, U.S. So anyway, I'm a fan of the cacao. I know other people are fans of gold. I understand. I'm an outlier here. But they got illegal mines. A U.S. man squeals. This is supposed to be funny. A U.S. man squeals to police on persistent pig. So he was coming home and the pig was following him. And he called the police. He like, it's a pig following me. And the police are like, oh, he's probably drunk. But then when they got there, our divine melanin is worth far, far more than silver, gold, and platinum combined. But when the police got there, they like, oh, it really is a pig following him and he's not drunk. And so the police took the pig and put it in the back of their police cruiser. And then they connected the pig to its natural owner. Or, and I don't mean natural owner, but, they found the person who the pig belonged to. I feel bad for the pig. It was probably trying to escape. Maybe it felt like that person would be a better fit for it. So anyway, Santa Fe school shooting. Suspect was rejected by victim Shayna Fisher. Hey, Yapo. So there were 3 pigs in the cruiser instead of just 2. And that's what they said at the end of the article. Don't make any pig jokes because we already did. They were probably talking to you. Um, so there's a whole conversation that started. I think I saw it start yesterday, where the young woman was who one of the girls who was shot in the Santa Fe shooting the other day had rejected the guy, perhaps because since he was a vegetarian, perhaps had rejected the guy who went and then shot people. And it reminded me when I started hearing it of, I saw on Twitter, it might have been last night, it probably was last night, but somebody said that their niece or son had come to them and said, hey, I like this girl, I like this girl a lot, and I'm gonna say something to her. And then, finally he said something to the girl, hey girl, hey girl, hey girl, hey girl, hey girl, I like you. And the girl is like, I don't like you. And so then he went to his mama, his aunt. He like, she said she didn't like me. And the mama and the aunt, whoever is like, well, you know what that means, right? And he's like, yeah, I got to be persistent. And the mama and the aunt said, no, that means leave her alone. She says she doesn't like you. And I was kind of like, it kind of, I don't know. I didn't really know how to process it. On one hand, I was sort of like, yeah. And then on the other hand, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know. It was just kind of different from the way that I'm used to processing that. But I guess in the context of, the boy done tried to talk to the girl and she said, no, I'm not interested. So now he come and he killing. And we've heard, variations of this story, where, I know I've been in situations where people say something to you and, you have to, as a woman, you develop a strategy for dealing with men on the street, because if you just like, no, sir, no, bye, then, who knows what happen. They eat you, stomp you, cuss you out, spit on you. You don't know, so I've developed, I'll be like, oh, hi. And you try to just, oh, yeah, just keep moving. Because I'm like, I don't want no trouble. And I'm not interested in meeting you on the street. A privileged white beta male scorned. Hell hath no fury like a privileged white beta male scorned. Right, punk butted person. So, I mean, I feel like it's all part of that continuum of feeling like, you're entitled to something that, you're not entitled to. You know what I mean? But when you're on the receiving end of it, you can't have that conversation when you're concerned about your safety. You just have to keep the stuff moving. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have a strategy to survive. That's how I am. When a woman tells me to stop calling her, texting her, showing up at her job, popping up in her family relationship, yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, it like that statement, the tweet kind of caused me to just like think, just really, because I've had a couple situations where I've never been stalked that I'm aware of, but I've had a couple situations where I was kind of like, where is this going for a month? I leave her alone for a month. Stop standing over her as she sleeps. That's not funny. That's creepy. But I've had situations where, like with people that I knew, I'm not talking about strangers, but where I kind of felt like, where is this going? And, it's a wrap. But and I feel like it could easily, like, that's why that movie, what was that movie I said I really liked, where it was like, it seemed like the woman, dang, what was that movie? She was like dating, it was called The Perfect Guy, The Perfect Man, something like that. It was a black movie. She was like dating the guy, and it was like there were no, at least the way the movie was edited, there was like no sign that he was crazy until he was crazy. By the time we realized he was crazy, it was too late. And that's how I feel like it is sometimes. Like, it was good. That's how I feel like it is sometimes. Like, it's just by the luck of God that I haven't encountered the crazy person, I think, because I feel like some people are crazy, and they will, like, I know there have been plenty of times when I'm walking down the street and, I'm like, oh, and I got my hand on my knife in my pocket and I'm opening it up, in case I have to fight, because I don't, and it's just, so yeah, like out here killing people. And then we had this conversation, because this is the incel. Didn't some guy somewhere in the world, maybe in Canada or something, he ran into some people and he was part of a group of involuntarily celibate men who were upset. And they say, if, that's what happens. If, if y'all women don't, do right, then it's going to be more of the text that gut six broke his house, told people he was his wife. He was his wife after one date. 6,000 times. Oh, that's a woman. Right. Now, some people, I mean, I think, people can be crazy. People can be crazy. There should be new protections put. I mean, people can be crazy, but I hear about it more with men than with women in terms of that. I think, yeah. But it's a fly over there. It's just sitting over there, but it's kind of getting on my nerves. Like, and I don't even understand, it's not even summertime. Like, and this is like I'm not understanding what's going on with the flies. Like, I don't understand. Okay. Is Beyonce about to bless and resurrect Enola Church? Ebola outbreaks, experimental vaccines. See, mine is a LG. Is yours a LG? It's probably a LG. Life's good. Isn't that what LG stands for? That's a good one. I'm glad I have an LG. Life is good. Experimental vaccinations to begin in DR Congo, and we talked about that medical experimentation on Black people, and I should have known that's where this whole conversation about Ebola was going. Two arrested in fatal shooting after Georgia graduation. See, it's the LG sound. So I don't know if I officially talked about it, but it was on my feed. But I don't think I talked about it. But there was a shooting in Georgia on the same day that there was a shooting in Santa Fe, and two people I think made their transition. I think it was an adult and a child, but I'm not sure. But two were arrested in the fatal shooting after the Georgia graduation. So rest in peace to the people who made their transition then. Iceland PM Prime Minister, was there any motive discovered? This is coming off the Grio, so I'll hit the article and see. Iceland Prime Minister on equal pay. It doesn't just happen by sitting and waiting. So they've been doing, some work to, it's sort of like, I feel like it's just like in life, like in your personal life. Like if you want to improve yourself, you don't just sit around and wait to get better. You put a plan in place to improve yourself. If you have a goal that you're trying to meet, you put a plan in place and you start working on it. You don't just sit around and be like, oh, I want to, be more positive. So I'll just sit here. Oh, I want to, finish this book. So I'll just sit here. Oh, I want to learn Spanish. So I'll just sit here. No, you got to do something. And that's what the people in this country did. They say, it's unequal pay. We're going to do something. Let's see what's going on. Let's evaluate. Let's make a plan. Let's make a difference. Two people are under arrest after shots rang outside a Georgia high school graduation, killing a woman and injuring another. Just days after the deadly Santa Fe shooting that killed 10, Georgia police are on edge after Friday night shootings in the parking lot of Perry Career Academy. The lot is across from the Clayton County Performing Arts Center where the school held its commencement ceremony. We are still openly investigating this fluid incident and want to provide the most accurate information available. Our hearts are made heavy. We're proud of our graduates. We're saddened. According to reports, two people started shooting at each other in the parking lot after an argument. Wait. Oh, dang, I missed it. Did I read the wrong story? Oh, what are they doing? What's their motive? Huh? Huh? Teen phone tracking app exposed. We talked about that. A school in China is monitoring students with facial recognition technology that scans the classroom every 30 seconds. Equal pay story. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go. Oh, let me hit it. I'll go back to it. The children are in the classroom every 30 seconds. That is a lot of, and so they're scanning to see if they're awake, if they're not awake, if they're smiling, if they're confused. That is crazy. Get her done. Get her done. First, you have a vision, then you have a mission. Okay, let's see. Um, that fly is just sitting over there looking at me. Bronx lottery winner fights to stay anonymous after winning 5 million. He said, "The people from my hood know that I won this money, then they gonna be coming after me trying to get money. I'm trying to stay anonymous so I can, live my best life. Why I gotta take this publicity photograph? When do you even see every once in a while, I guess you see a publicity photograph, step by step by step, inch by inch. It's a cinch." Oh, it is coming up. I don't have. Oh, how I love to copy and paste. Iceland has become the first country in the world to force companies to prove they pay all employees the same. The new law came into force earlier this year means every firm with over 25 or more staff must have a showing they pay everyone in the same roles equally, no matter what their gender, sexuality, or ethnicity is. Currently, the gender pay gap is 4.8%. Prime Minister Katrin Jacobsdottir is the leader of the Green Party and spoke to the BBC's Lucy Hawkins about the issue. So I don't know if that answered your question. I never even got clarity about what your question was. So and then they were keeping the images of the children that they were monitoring in Japan, in China. So now they're saying that they're not keeping the images. Every 30 seconds? That's deep. That's really, really intense. I'm back to a school in China is monitoring students with facial recognition technology that scans this classroom every 30 seconds. 5 mil in public, 5 mil in. Oh, you're talking about the lottery story. And yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good to be secretly rich. That's like The Millionaire Next Door. That's one of the things I liked about that book. It's like, oh, conspicuous consumption is not all that. Gotta be careful out here. Out here. And somebody was it Information Man was talking about traveling and not being all bling bling, and I'm like, who travels like that? But I guess if you live like that, it would probably, I realize like, oh, I guess because I don't really live like that, I don't really know nothing. I'm like, ain't nobody got to tell me. Ain't nobody got to tell me. It's my cousin too. We probably related. Cuzzo. What's up, Cuzzo? Teen phone. Okay, we talked about that. Meet the robots, or else they will be. That's right. Meet the robots that can pick and plant better than we can. Really good. I don't know what that was. Airbnb to report homeowners' income to Danish tax authorities. Mount Kilimanjaro. So yesterday when we were talking about what country were we talking about? It wasn't Quadavar. It was, I don't remember. But someone, I think it was Sonia C's, mentioned Mount Kilimanjaro. And I said, I think Mount Kilimanjaro is in Kenya, and it's not. Mount Kilimanjaro, with its three volcanic cones, Kibo, Mawenzi, and Shira, is a dormant volcano in Tanzania. Zania. I think it's Zania, the woman's name. It is the largest, it is the highest mountain in Africa, about 4,900 meters or 16,100 feet above sea level. So I think she was talking about Tanzania and she mentioned Mount Kilimanjaro. And I was thinking about the Mau Mau and facing Mount Kenya for some reason. I don't know what the association was, but I'm trying to break it now. But that's it. that's I think I have looped through everything for the news today. Does anybody remember what the Nguzo Saba was for today? I'll give you a hint. It's my second favorite of the seven Nguzo Saba. My first favorite is Kuji Chagalia because I like the way it sounds. And this one I like the way it sounds too because it's got a boom to it. Kaumba! Woo! And it means, in English, it means creativity. But we just say Kaumba because, you know, we just fluent in Kiswahili or Swahili. Why do they say Swahili and Kiswahili? The languages, Kiswahili and the people in the culture of Swahili, is that? I've never understood that. I looked it up once, probably about 10 years ago, and I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. So, yeah. Yes. But I guess I didn't get the concept. If I'm repeating it, another excellent show. Thank you for putting up with my tomfoolery and the fact that I use the term tomfoolery. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. And it is on purpose and intentional that we're here together, virtually, literally, live on the playback. It's divine will. It's all in good, godly order. And I appreciate you. Today is the best day ever, and you are the greatest. And the word from Jerry Foolery, you skip Tom, Dick, and Harry from The Universe Has Your Back. Oh, this is a good one. It says, instead of praying for an outcome, I pray for the highest good for all. I remember one time I had the consciousness to do that, you know. Make things, you know, just be the way they're supposed to be. If it's not the way I want it, then you give me the peace to just accept it. That's what I do when I start getting obsessed with people. Yeah, I'm both of y'all. Tomfoolery and both what? So that's it. That's what I got. 156. Dang. Okay. So I am going to. I think I'm going to have an opportunity now to watch. I missed Real Housewives of Potomac yesterday because I was reading or doing something. I don't know what foolishness I was doing instead of watching. Is there an Alkebulan country for today? No, because I'm already at 2 hours. I try to do that when I have, I've already. But if you would like to share any information, let's share it. Because what I did notice about the Ebola, that's what we did yesterday. We did the Democratic Republic of Congo. So when I was reading the article on Ebola, it was like some of the stuff was a little bit familiar to me because we had just talked about DR Congo. So I'm like, oh, maybe some things will start to get retained. And then we did talk about Mount Kilimanjaro, which is in Tanzania. I'm so ignorant. I don't know how to pronounce anything. I don't even know why I bother to open my mouth and butcher these words. I should just be quiet, meditate. So if there's any facts or information you want to throw out. What do you know about the Mau Mau? Does anybody know anything about the Mau Mau? I think they're revolutionaries. I like a revolutionary. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go check out. And then I read a thank you. Then I read or listened to an article or something, and I had heard this before about how, there is the theory that the reason why we call Alkebulan Africa is because of Leo Africanus. And then somebody is like, Africanus, this is something I heard the other day, is not a common Greek name or whatever. The actual origin of African, and they put it in an African context. I can't remember what it was. And that's why he came to be known from that name, but because he had an association with Africa. And so that's why he has that name that is actually, but anyway, I don't know. But we do have an Alkebulan village over here, so I like saying Alkebulan. That's another good name. It feels Alkebalan, Alkebalan, Kaumba, Kuji Chagalia. Today is the best day ever, and you are the greatest. Be you. Be fabulous. Oh, shoot. Hold on 1 second. I want to test this out. I like Alkebalan better. Okay, then we'll say Alkebalan. I'm going to change my whole way of speaking for you. Hey, be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Who you gonna be if you ain't you? Who you gonna be if you ain't you? Who you gonna be if you ain't you? Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Peace. I meant to do it at the top of the show. I have to test to see if I could hear it. I recorded a theme song. Peace, conscious of genocide. Peace, everybody on the line. Thank you for being here. Peace. Bye, Kindred. Thank you. Peace.